Hi, this is Scott Sackett. If you enjoyed this video, please take a second to subscribe and ring the bell for notifications. I am currently doing a review of How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way by Stan Lee and John Buscema. I am doing a kind of a walkthrough of that particular book with some lessons and some art examples, and kind of expanding on some of the content a little bit. So if you enjoyed that kind of sort of thing, check that out. I'm hoping to get enough followers that I can do some live streams, some live drawing streams. And so subscribe, help me get that goal. Recently I did a review of a French edition of a book called Fear Itself. This is an event book that Marvel did several years ago. The French edition is oversized and in black and white. I did a review of that because I'm a big fan of Stuart Immonen's artwork, and in there I told the story about Stuart Immonen's sketchbook and how I became a fan of Stuart Immonen. One of the viewers asked me, what were the sketchbooks? And I said, oh, I need to review the sketchbooks. These are the sketchbooks in question. It's Centifolia, I believe is how it's pronounced, which my understanding is it's a type of rose. I'm not sure why Stuart Immonen named his sketchbooks that, but this is volume 1 and volume 2. As far as I know, there is not a volume 3. He's talked about doing volume 3. If you follow Stuart Immonen on social media, he posts pictures of his sketchbooks. But I'm going to talk about them now. Also, I'm recording this in my car, so if you see car stuff, that's what's going on there. But anyway, so this is volume 1 of Centifolia. I bought this roughly 10 years ago. I was on a road trip, and I bought it at a comic shop. And I was not a fan of Stuart Immonen's at the time, but he was getting a lot of Marvel work, and so I was interested in his work. There were some things, and I won't go into what I didn't like about his work specifically, but I saw this, and I love looking at artist sketchbooks, and so I flipped through this, and I wanted to buy it. And I think I spent $20 on it, yeah, and it's put out by One Horse Lead Works. One Horse Lead Works is Stuart Immonen's own publishing company. And so volume 2 is produced by a company called Ad House. I don't think One Horse Lead Works ever did volume 2. I think Stuart put out volume 1. It did well, so Ad House picked it up. Volume 1 is actually available from Ad House Books. I think both of these are still in print. At one point, they offered a slipcase version of both of them, which I sadly don't have. Anyway, I'm going to go through the book and kind of talk about it. I love the story at the beginning. Basically, it's Stuart talking about when he was in school. His teacher told him when he became a professional artist, he would never draw just for fun. And he talked about how he didn't for about 10 years until about 2002. And so this is a compilation. Since then, Stuart has done a lot of stuff in his sketchbook, as you'll see from here and from his blog, if you ever follow his blog. Now, one of the things I really like about this is he does a lot of comic strips in his sketchbook. Now, some of this stuff, I don't know if it's exactly from his sketchbook. I love this. This is a story about traveling. I don't know if this is biographical. It certainly seems biographical. The lead character kind of looks like him, but it talks about just being stuck in an airport. If you travel much, you've done that. You've been there. There's some exercises, some drawing exercises, drawing from life kind of stuff. Now, the first volume does not go into there's not a lot of credits. Now, the second volume, they added credits to the end. Most of the work in here does not look like his comic stuff. Now, this kind of does. Looks like some of his Ultimate Spider-Man stuff, or maybe some of his Ultimate Fantastic Four stuff. Another potentially biographical story about him quitting playing golf. A lot of experimental kind of drawings. And some stuff that I think is probably drawn from life. And I love seeing this kind of thing in a sketchbook and this is kind of how my sketchbook is. I'll do, drawings that I would call from memory or from imagination, and then drawing from life. Here's one, his impressions of Buffalo, New York. And at the bottom you can see it got too dark. So apparently he was riding in a car somewhere, on a train or whatever, and he drew some just quick sketches of the environment. Here's some stuff. Now this drawing I like right here. You wouldn't know what this is, except for I happen to know this is from the Museum of Natural History, and I don't know if he drew this when he was visiting it. Oh, sorry about that. I don't know if he drew this from life or from memory or what, or from a photo, but you can see it says Hall of Biodiversity. That's from that is from the Museum of Natural History. I recognize it, even though it's a loose sketch. I recognize it. So I don't know if his family visited and that's his wife and kid maybe, or he just was there, or like I said, drew it from a photo or whatever. But that's what that is. And some of this stuff, is a more realistic style. And one of the things I love about Stuart Immonen, I don't know what this is. They may be comic thumbnails. His thumbnails are really loose. One of the things I like about Stuart Immonen is his versatility as an artist, and you can see that here in his sketchbook. So he's got a fairly realistic bird, and then a sketch, possibly from life, that kind of looks like his wife, and it says Art Lab, and it's got a date, so which indicates to me it's probably drawn from life. His wife has talked about working, being like a volunteer at an art lab I think it's in Toronto, and so maybe she's painting the wall. I don't know, but anyway, another comic strip that he drew in his sketchbook, which I think is really cool. Something from TCAF 07, and then something, there's a lot of girls, kind of stylized girl drawings in here. Humorous stuff. Tulvis. More cartoons. Lots of comic strips in both of these. Cat. So there's quite a bit of color stuff in this one, and that's why I say I'm not sure if this was from a sketchbook and then scanned into Photoshop. This is obviously, you can see the halftones there. So obviously there's some computer at some part in it. Here's a story. I don't know if he drew. And again, this is kind of a duotone or kind of a monotone thing. So it's probably digital at some point. There's a real cool drawing in here. I think I'm coming up on it like this, kind of a designy thing. Again, more girls. Drew a lot of girls in his sketchbook. I like that. Kind of a modern art thing. And he's done some freelance kind of stuff, but this book, like I said, doesn't have any credits. The second volume, I like that. It's a real design looking thing. The second volume does have credits. There's a more girls, kind of a cool thing. That looks like it was drawn for something. It's kind of cool. Stuart Immonen is a big bird watcher. Real graphic designy kind of stuff. Oh, here's the one, a watercolor of an old car. I think I've seen an actual picture of this on his blog. So this was definitely done in his sketchbook. Kind of a cool picture of somebody walking across a creek. I'm gonna kind of buzz through some of this. I don't know if this stuff was drawn for comics or from his imagination or what, but you can see the variety of techniques and the variety of styles and materials. Some obviously ink brush kind of stuff right next to some pencil stuff. Now here we get into some illustrations that he did. I don't know if this is Shakespeare, but to me that looks like Shakespeare. I don't know. He that outlives his day and comes safe home will stand a tiptoe when this day is named and rouse him in the name of Crispian. I'm not up on my Shakespeare. There's quite a few of this, so I don't know if he did a lot of this in his sketchbook. Then we're back into cartoons and some doodles. It says characters from a dream, more life drawing kind of stuff. Like that, kind of a neat style. And if you followed his career, and he's probably one of my favorite modern artists, even though he's been in the business for quite a while. If you follow his career, you'll know that he before he does a project, he thinks a lot about the style he's going to draw it in. There's somebody waiting at an airport, and I feel like comic artists, at least at the level he's at, end up traveling quite a bit. And the loneliness of placeless location. In the era of COVID, an airport drawing almost seems quaint. More comics. Some more. Now this is more like his comic stuff. He's done a book called Moving Pictures that was drawn kind of in a style like this. He's a guy that is always working on projects on the side. Switch hands. Again, I don't know what this is. That is a real moving pictures style to it. But his side projects, he's talked about developing a style that he can maintain over, because he's doing like a page a day or a page a week or whatever. That's kind of cool. Kind of a wash. Another pencil drawing. I don't know what this is. I've tried to interpret this. I don't know what it is. Some kind of notes. That's the end, and then some of his credits for some of his books. Okay, so that's the first one. Let me grab the second one. So there's a second one. I'll kind of buzz through this a little bit. I like this one. I think I like the second one better than the first one for some reason. Not sure why. He writes an introduction about how, and this is from March 2011. So we're certainly doing another book. I love that. That looks like something you'd see at an airport. So that may be drawn from life. And again, I'm probably reading way too much into some of this stuff. But I love, and with my sketchbook, this is what I try and do, is fill it with, just stuff from drawings from observation. Oliver Twist. So I don't know if he's reading Oliver Twist, but he drew a drawing from Oliver Twist. Comic strips. Dog. No, he's a dog guy. Maybe his dog. Just the comic strip talking about the heat. Comic strip Ghost Rider Moses. Again, kind of a cool style, a little bit different than everything else, and that's the takeaway I got from this, and that's really why. That's from the movie Harold and Maude, the two main characters. This is the thing that really turned me on to Stuart Immonen, is he has such an adaptive style. Toronto Zoo, so he went to the zoo and drew. I think this is either from a painting or a statue. La Foy's Fawn, 1925. This is from pixellovely.com, which is an online website that'll do, has life drawings, or life photos you can draw from. Maybe from a bus, I don't know. Nuts and why I hate them. He drew a bunch of nuts and why he hates them. Hipsters at the Fantagraphic Table at TCAF. Now this one, the other one had the Shakespeare thing. This has a lot of these caricatures in it, which isn't my favorite thing in here, I'll be honest with you, because I don't recognize the characters. But there's a few pages of them. I'll go through it. Again, I have no clue who any of these people are. I don't know if they're acquaintances of his or famous people or what. But I go back to the variety in both of these sketchbooks is really cool. And I think as an artist, some sort of layouts for some sort of story maybe never got developed beyond that. The variety of subjects and styles and medium. I mean, this is the kind of thing, if you're an artist, that I think you should do, is fill your sketchbook up. It's nice ink drawing. Probably not done in a sketchbook. There's probably a digital aspect of that particular one. Same for that one. Again, there's a lot of color in here. That's cool. I like that. A story about a public presentation that he did. They invited him to do a comic strip of. Had no idea what that was. And this one has credits in the end. It's a comic strip. Fairly long comic strip for this book. Again, kind of a monotone. That's cool. Lots of cool stuff in both of these. Real nice watercolor. You know, the dude definitely has multiple skill sets and a variety of taste. You know, he's not one of these guys that is like, this is my style and everything I do is in that style. We go from something like this, which is fairly designy, to this, which is a fairly realistic watercolor. You know, that could be a 50s illustration or an illustration out of a 50s magazine. And there's the sketch that was developed from. Love that. Like I said, the variety of styles and mediums and subject matter is pretty breathtaking. As an artist, when I go to conventions and talk to, young artists who'll come up with their portfolio, I always ask them if they have a sketchbook. And if they do, I'll wonder if they have it with them, which I think they should always have it with them. Drawing at a hotel. And then I'll look at it, because I like looking at people's sketchbooks, and I will ask them when I look at it if it, this is the kind of stuff I want to see, kind of where they're experimenting, where they're trying stuff out. I don't want a bunch of perfect drawings of characters. I want to, your sketchbook should be a place where you can experiment. And I think that's certainly true, or at least from the examples here. That's cool. I don't know what that is. Canmore, Alberta, maybe? Anyway, that's pretty cool. Looks like it's drawn from life. Somewhere in here, drawings on coasters, looks like. There's a nice drawing of a car. I may have missed it. There's a drawing of a Jeep. Here's a little story about at a con. Oh, and I love this. Here's a little story about a convention in Florida, I believe. Bio of him and his wife. Oh, I missed it. Somewhere there's a great picture of a Jeep. But anyway, like I said, I recommend both of these books. I don't know how hard they are to find. I've had both of these for a while. I don't believe there's a third book out, but Centifolia I, Centifolia II, they're both equally good. I think I have a little bit of preference for the second one, but I don't know. Anyway, those are the books. Those are the sketchbooks that I referenced in the Fear Itself review. Again, I'm Scott Sackett. If you enjoyed this video, please take a second to subscribe. And thank you very much. And watch out for more content. Goodbye.